the night she said. I just need a little break, babe. I didn't know she was already planning to break us. My name's Ryan. I've been married to Olivia for 5 years. If you had seen us from the outside, you'd say we were one of those Instagram perfect couples. Always smiling, always matching outfits, always holding hands. But pictures lie. And so did she. Olivia was the kind of woman who could walk into a room and make everyone look twice, not because she was flashy, but because she carried herself like she owned her world. Confident. Playful. Warm. When we first met, I was a quiet tech guy working night shifts. She worked in interior design, always talking about textures, colors, feelings. She brought color into my gray little life, literally. She'd come home late, tired, and I'd be waiting with dinner, candles, and her favorite music playing softly in the background. That was our thing. She used to joke. "You're too good to be true, Ryan. Someday I'll find your flaw." I used to laugh at that. I didn't know she would become my flaw. The first 2 years of marriage were peaceful. We didn't have much, but we had each other. Then things started changing when she switched jobs. Her new boss, Greg, was the creative type, loud, charming, a little too friendly. She talked about him all the time at first, but in that innocent way wives do when they admire someone's work. Then she stopped mentioning him altogether. One night, around 11:30 p.m., she was still awake on her phone, smiling at the screen. When I asked who it was, she said, "Just my cousin, showing me pictures from her trip." But when I asked which cousin, she hesitated for a second too long. Then she laughed it off. "You're getting paranoid, honey. Go to sleep." I did. But her smile that night, it wasn't the smile of someone texting family. It was softer. Private. The next morning, she left early for a work meeting. Except she forgot her smartwatch on the nightstand. And while I wasn't the kind of husband to snoop, my hand hovered over it for a full minute. I didn't check it. Not then. Because love makes you blind, but trust makes you stupid. That week, she started going to the gym again. She bought new dresses, the kind she used to say were too much work to wear. When I asked, she said, "Greg's company might host an out-of-town project soon. I just want to look my best." Something about how she said Greg made my stomach twist. Still, I smiled, told her she looked beautiful, and kissed her forehead before she left. I wanted to believe that loving her enough would keep her close. Then came the trip. Out of nowhere, she told me she and her best friend, Mia, were going on a girls' weekend. "Just 2 days by the coast," she said. "I need to recharge. You've been working so hard too. Let me breathe a little, okay?" Her voice trembled when she said that last part. As if she wasn't asking for space, she was preparing for distance. The night before her trip, I cooked her favorite, creamy mushroom pasta. She barely touched it. Kept checking her phone. When I leaned in to kiss her, she turned away, saying she had lipstick on. It hit me like a punch. That simple turn of her face said more than words ever could. The morning she left, I offered to drop her off at the station. She refused. "Mia's picking me up." I watched from the window as she wheeled her suitcase down the street, her phone glued to her ear. She wasn't smiling, she was glowing. And in that glow, I saw something I hadn't seen in months. Excitement. Just not for me. That day, I couldn't focus at work. My head replayed every moment, her changed passwords, her sudden privacy, her fake laughs. So when I texted her, "Have a safe trip, Red Heart," and saw message not delivered, my heart dropped. I called, it went straight to voicemail. I tried again, same thing. Then I checked WhatsApp. She had blocked me. My hands went cold. My chest felt like it was caving in. There's no logical reason for your wife to block you during a girls' trip, unless the girls aren't girls. But I didn't scream. I didn't call her friends. I didn't even throw my phone. I just sat there in silence, staring at our wedding photo, her smiling face pressed against mine, and whispered, "All right, Olivia. Have your trip. I'll see you soon." I didn't know it then, but that was the moment my revenge quietly began. If you're feeling the tension already, hit that like button. It helps more people find stories that hit straight in the heart. When your wife blocks you on a trip, it's not a mistake, it's a message. I just wasn't sure what it was trying to tell me yet. The first night she was gone, I didn't sleep. Every sound in the apartment felt too loud, the clock ticking, the fridge humming, the silence between them. At 2 a.m. I gave in. I opened my laptop and checked. Find my phone. Her location showed no signal. Either her phone was off, or she didn't want to be found. The next morning I called Mia, her supposed best friend and travel partner. Mia, hey, this is Ryan. Just wanted to check if you two reached safely. Her voice was confused. What are you talking about? I froze. The beach trip, you and Olivia? There was a pause, then Mia laughed nervously. Ryan, I haven't talked to Liv in days. Did something happen? My heart started pounding. I hung up before she could ask anything else. I felt my body go cold, but my mind, it went quiet. Not the kind of quiet that comes from shock. The kind that comes from clarity. I knew what was happening. And I knew I was going to find out where. I checked our shared bank account. She had withdrawn $1,200 2 days before leaving, in cash. Then I remembered her old iPad, which was still logged into her email. When I turned it on, I found a flight confirmation from Wings Travel Company. Destination, Palm View Resort. 2 guests. 1 room. Check-in under Greg Hudson. I just stared at the screen, the glow of betrayal lighting my face. It was him. Her boss. The creative genius she couldn't stop talking about. I wanted to scream. Break something. But instead I smiled, a broken, hollow smile. Because now, I wasn't just the husband she betrayed. I was the man she underestimated. That night, I booked my own flight. Same destination. Same resort. But under a fake name, Evan Ross. I even rented a car. If she wanted a secret trip, I'd make it unforgettable. When I arrived, the air smelled of ocean salt and betrayal. The resort was stunning, glass windows, white sand, and a pool shaped like a heart. How fitting. At the check-in desk, I kept my sunglasses on. Reservation for Evan Ross. As the clerk handed me my key card, I asked casually, Hey, I think one of my colleagues might be staying here, Greg Hudson? The clerk smiled politely. Yes, sir. He checked in yesterday. Room 304. With Mrs. Olivia Hudson. Mrs. Hudson. It felt like someone stabbed me, but I didn't flinch. I thanked her, walked to my room, and sat on the bed staring at my wedding ring. I could have gone up right then. Kicked the door in. Dragged her out and shouted her lies to the world. But I didn't. Because revenge is best served cold, and recorded in 4K. That night, I went to the resort bar. Ordered a drink, pretending to scroll through my phone while watching the lobby cameras. At 8:43 p.m., they walked in. Olivia was wearing a white dress, the same one she wore on our anniversary 2 years ago. Greg's hand was on her waist. She laughed, that same laugh I fell in love with. It wasn't just betrayal. It was recycling our memories. They sat by the bar, and I watched her tilt her head back as he whispered in her ear. I wasn't angry anymore. I was studying her. Every smile. Every touch. Every lie she thought she could hide. When she excused herself to the restroom, I quietly followed Greg to the balcony. He was texting someone, smirking. I leaned on the railing beside him and said, Beautiful night, huh? He glanced at me, polite but dismissive. Yeah. Great weather. Then I added softly, Olivia always loved the ocean, didn't she? He froze. Turned slowly. Sorry, do I know you? I smiled. No. But your room number is 304, right? His face went pale. Before he could answer, Olivia's voice called from behind us. Greg? What's taking so long? When she stepped out and saw me, her entire face drained of color. Her phone slipped from her hand. Ryan? For a full 5 seconds, no one spoke. Just the sound of waves crashing below us. Then I said, "Don't stop on my account. You were having a great time." Greg muttered something about misunderstanding, but I didn't even look at him. I just stared at her, at the woman I thought I knew. "Why'd you block me, Liv?" I asked quietly. "Was it easier to cheat when I couldn't text you goodnight?" She tried to speak, but guilt strangled her words. I turned to leave. And just before walking away, I said something that made them both freeze. "You two enjoy the rest of your stay. It's all on me, literally." Neither of them understood what I meant. Not yet. But they would. Because I had already set everything in motion. That night, I sent a single message from a hidden account to Greg's company inbox. It contained every photo, every timestamp, every hotel receipt, all neatly compiled. And I wasn't done yet. Before leaving the resort, I left a small envelope with the front desk manager, marked for Mr. and Mrs. Hudson. Inside was a simple note, handwritten in blue ink. "You blocked me for your secret trip. But I was never the one blind. Ryan." I drove to the airport before sunrise, the ocean disappearing in the rearview mirror. And as the plane lifted off, I looked down at that fading resort. The place where my marriage died. And where my revenge was just beginning. If you're still with me through this heartbreak, make sure to subscribe. More real, painful, and shocking stories like this drop every day on Betrayal Tells. Betrayal doesn't break you all at once. It breaks you in pieces, until you decide which ones to rebuild, and which to burn. When I got back home, the apartment felt colder, like the air itself knew what had happened. Her perfume still lingered on the couch. The framed wedding photo on the wall mocked me with a frozen smile. For the first time, I didn't feel angry. I felt empty. But emptiness can be powerful, if you know how to fill it. 2 days later, Olivia came back. I was sitting at the dining table, laptop open, pretending to work. She walked in quietly, dragging her suitcase behind her like guilt had weight. "Hey," she whispered. I didn't answer. She tried again. "Ryan, please, let me explain." I looked up slowly. "Explain what, Liv? How your boss needed help choosing hotel curtains." Her eyes filled with tears. "It was a mistake, Ryan. It just happened." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was pathetic. "Cheating isn't something that just happens, Olivia. Tripping over a step happens. Losing control of your car happens. But sleeping with your boss? That's planning." She sobbed quietly, but I didn't flinch. I'd cried enough for both of us. For the next few days, I acted distant but calm. She begged, cooked, cleaned, tried everything to make things right. What she didn't know was that her little trip had already become a masterpiece of poetic revenge. Because while she was busy cheating, I was busy documenting. See, before confronting them at the resort, I had connected my hidden camera app to my phone. Every conversation, every lie, every sweet whisper, recorded. The photos from the bar, the timestamps, the check-in documents, all backed up to the cloud. And that email I sent to Greg's company? It wasn't just a warning shot. It was a career funeral. Within 72 hours, HR opened an investigation for misconduct. Greg's wife, yes, he was married too, received an anonymous package with copies of the receipts and screenshots. Within a week, Greg lost his job, his marriage, and his shiny reputation. Olivia found out when she came home from the grocery store, eyes wide with panic. "Ryan! Did you send those? Greg's been fired. His wife left him." I looked at her calmly. "I told you the trip would be unforgettable." She stared at me, tears running down her face. "You ruined his life." I smiled faintly. "He ruined his own." I just pressed send. For a moment she stood there trembling, part anger, part shame, part fear. Then she whispered, "So what now? You want to divorce me?" I paused. That was the obvious answer, but I wanted something better. No, I said softly. Not yet. That night, she slept in the guest room. I stayed awake, thinking about the last 5 years, the love, the laughter, the slow decay of truth. And then, I opened my laptop. The same video that exposed her affair, the footage from the resort, I edited it carefully. Not for the world to see, but for her. I called it The Trip You Took Alone. In the video, I placed every moment, from our anniversary memories to the night she said, "I just need a little break, babe." Then it transitioned to the bar scene, her laughter with Greg, the way she looked at him. At the end, I added a simple quote. "You blocked me to hide your secret. But I blocked my heart before you could destroy it completely." I left the video on a USB drive by her pillow. The next morning, when she found it, she didn't say a word. Just watched it in silence. I could hear her sobbing through the wall. After an hour, she came out, eyes red and shaking. "I'll pack my things," she whispered. I nodded. Good. A month later, she moved out. No yelling. No fights. No drama. Just silence, the kind that only comes when love dies quietly. And though I had every right to hate her, I didn't. Because hate still means someone matters. And to me, she was already gone. 6 months passed. I rebuilt my life piece by piece. Started running in the mornings again. Took a new job in another city. Even began smiling at strangers, something I thought I'd forgotten how to do. Then one day, I got an email from an unknown sender. No message, just a subject line. "I'm sorry." It was from her. Attached was a photo, our old wedding picture. The same one she once said was her favorite. The same one I'd taken off the wall. I didn't reply. I just stared at it for a while, then smiled. Because at that moment, I realized something. I didn't need revenge anymore. I already had it. The best revenge isn't destroying them. It's showing them they no longer have the power to destroy you. 3 months later, I met someone new. Not perfect. Not dazzling. But honest. And when she said, "I love you," it didn't feel like a performance. It felt like home. The loop closed quietly one morning when I looked at my phone and saw Olivia's name again, this time on a blocked contact list. I laughed to myself and whispered, "Guess who's blocked now?" Then I walked outside into the sunlight, free, calm, and finally me again. If this story touched your heart or reminded you of your own experience, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And if you have a story like this, send it to us. Your story could be the next one featured on Betrayal Tells.